Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here live right here on this station. We're on WL 1450 AM, Radio 1, and we're simulcasting all over the globe. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. This information has to get out here, so we're doing it, and we're glad to be here on this February 3rd, 2023. I am Robert Gatewood. I'm a business developer by trade. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. You can find out more about me by going to gatewoodmarketing.com. I'm also a adjunct professor. I teach this over at the Prince George's Community College in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm also a consultant for the Small Business Administration in the MBA program, helping companies do it the right way to make this government bank. And also, I've written a couple of books, one called Smarter Than the Boss and another called Played in Full. So anyway, I got a couple of receipts, but that's not to brag. That's to say that we need to get this information out here in any means necessary. Now we're going into Black History Month, starting this month. This has been traditionally called Black History Month, and so we're going to talk about that. That's going to be the context and theme running through the show today. So because I have some questions about Black businesses in general, about Black history, about Black consumers, and I'm going to open a can of worms today. So you don't want to go anywhere today. You want to listen to that. And later in the show, we're going to talk about some ways that you don't have to be sitting around just reading about Black history. We should be making Black history, particularly the business owners, because we have the tools, we have the opportunity that others do not have by being an entrepreneur. I mean, many of us, last time I checked, I'm probably a little too old to be the next Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. I can't rap like Jay-Z, and so I've hitched my hat on this. I hitched my wagon to this entrepreneur train, and I feel that many of you have also. And so I just want to make sure that on this Black History Month, that we're not passing up on opportunities to make our mark. And instead of just reading about Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass, that we're out here making history too. So this Black History Month, actually, this Black History Month started as Negro History Week back in 1926 by historian Carter G. Woodson. And it didn't become Black History Month until 1976. And I think good old Gerald Ford was the one who actually signed it, made it official. So this particular month is steeped in history, but like I said, we're not just out here to read about history. I want you business owners to go out here and make some history. Now, I'm going to open up a can of worms today because one thing that has been like one of my pet peeves, we have these pet peeves, well, I'm going to call it the black elephant in the room. And that is that sometimes I feel personally that people judge Black businesses too harshly and tend to be less forgiving when a Black business makes a problem or has a problem. It's like you got the one strike rule. One strike and you're out. I mean, even the justice system gives you 3 strikes. But for some reason, there have been this myth out here that somehow Black businesses are not up to the task, that their services are not as professional, that their service is not as good. They don't get the same type of attention that other businesses might offer. Well, and then how many times have you heard this quote? Well, I tried a Black business once and I didn't get the service that I thought I deserved or needed. Well, first of all, before we move beyond that, if you're going to try the black business once, then shame on you. Uh, if you can count the number of times that you've actually patronized the black business, then maybe the problem is not the black business. You might have to do a little introspection. But let's get back to the issue at hand. There's the old adage, I don't want to get cliche this morning, white man's ice is colder than the black man's ice. Actually, one of my shows a few years ago, I actually did an experiment. I said, I'm going to go out here and debunk this theory that black people's ice is just as cold as white man's ice. So I went out and tried to find me some white ice from a white shop and get some ice from a black shop. But first of all, my project kind of went downhill because I had a hard time finding a black shop that sold ice. So I ended up finding a guy, he was non-white, let's put it this way. I think he may have been Iranian or something. So I did the little experiment, the ice in a glass of Kool-Aid or something, put a thermometer in there and proved, I debunked that theory once and for all. So anybody who thinks that somebody else's ice is colder than our ice, just know that Robert Gatewood had actually done the test. So let's get back to this topic here before we get into our news. We got some news items coming up later on and a few other good things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of put this aside. I'm going to offer some advice today. One, for the people who I feel might be judging black businesses a little too harshly and a little less forgiving when they make a slight mistake. And I have some advice for the black businesses themselves who may be on the receiving end of this harsh criticism. So let me start this off this morning. And thank you again for tuning in. Everybody who's tuning in for the first time, thank you. And for those who have been hanging in there year after year, month after month, week after week, like Bradley Thomas this morning. Thank you, Attorney Bradley Thomas, who's a young man who is always proud to support his community. And thank you again for tuning in. Pastor Thomas said, my dad would be proud. And thank you, Brother Thomas. I'm sure he is, because this show, Marketing Pulpit, was named in his honor because I was proud of him. He was also a black business owner. My dad was a black business owner. He had a small grocery store. And that's really what the bug bit me, really. I jumped on there and I became a black business owner myself, eventually after working several years in corporate America. So let me give you some advice to people who are too quick to dismiss black businesses, or maybe too unforgiving when they make a slight mistake. Number one, and I shouldn't have to say this, don't go into the relationship expecting a discount. How many times have you heard that? Okay, so that's off to a bad start to begin with. Second, give people a chance to be human, particularly if you're dealing with we are human just like everybody else. We're not robots. We have families. We make mistakes. We get sick. We have car accidents. We have doctor's appointments. Yes, we are human too. So we make these if we don't make your deadline, somebody died, sick. Yes, we are human. Don't hold us to this superhuman standard. Okay, also, I want you to commit to help a small black startup business grow. Give them that opportunity. I don't mean be careless about it, but somebody help you get off the ground. So be that impetus to help somebody else get started. So once you show that humility and grace, you've created a bond, and that company is going to be loyal to you. They're going to move heaven and earth to make sure things work out for you. I'm just telling you how it works for me. Somebody gives me a chance to prove myself. That's exactly what I'm going to do, and I will not disappoint. So we have to do that for other small black businesses when they're trying to get started. So I'm telling you how we can move this change so that we're not so quick to dismiss black business owners. I want to make sure we give them a fair shake. Okay, now keep in mind that when you make that decision to prematurely dismiss a black company because something that you thought was not up to your standards, just know that the next company you go to is going to be even harder, because now you've set this very high bar and unrealistic expectations. So it's going to get harder the next time around. So you may have been better off just sticking with the company you started with, because it does not get any easier when you start moving around. You're losing time, you're burning relationships and bridges that you may not be able to go back and repair. Also, leave that experience that you had with the other company behind. Don't bring that into the next relationship. And here's the one I want you to all be mindful. I hate to bring this up. Stop counting other people's money. I notice for some reason when we dealing with people in our community, we want to know how their money is spent, where they got it from, and they're in the kitchen trying to help them cook their pie. It's a little too familiar, a little much too familiarity. We can leave that behind. So these are some tips. I'm just telling you that yes, there are some challenges that Black companies have, like all companies, but don't be so quick to judge. Also, make sure that your expectations with this Black business that you're judging is aligned with your budget. Some people come in here and drop a couple of coins and expect the world. When things don't go their way, they say, well, it was because I dealt with a Black company. I'm not going to do it anymore. Don't do that. Okay, so that's the people who are, and I say, I hope I didn't step on any toes because sometimes we are culturally conditioned to think this way. Let's talk about the Black businesses who might feel they've been judged too harshly. I'm not going to give you a pass either. First thing I want you to do is to provide exceptional service. Don't give people an excuse to judge you more harshly or unfairly. Provide good service. Don't expect somebody to cut you a break because you're a Black business. That's off to the wrong start, okay? Provide good service. You want to hold your business to the standard of anybody, okay? Understand this thing called buyer's remorse. When somebody gives you that money, inherently, no matter what company, what color you are, what type of business you are, they're going to have second thoughts. So don't give them a chance to back out because you didn't respond, you didn't return their calls, you didn't do a follow-up letter, you didn't send them the terms and the agreements. Understand that. Stay in touch, communicate, okay? You can read the signs when somebody's not happy. Jump in, intervene, pick up the phone. Sometimes email doesn't do it. Pick up that phone and call that person. Let them know you're a human being and you understand what they're going through. Also, listen when you do that. Listen. Bite your tongue. Sometimes you want to be right, and it's hard sometimes, particularly when you're talking to somebody who looks like you. Bite your tongue and listen because that person may have some legitimate concerns that can help you grow. Okay? Accept your fault and the fault of your staff. Don't pass the blame. You blame the client. Don't say, well, I gave it to Sue and she messed it up. No. You're a business owner. You accept that responsibility. And this is the last piece of advice on this. Don't run your business where you're living so close to the edge that you can't give them their money back. Let me tell you something, folks. That's the thing I keep a give you your money back budget. I have a separate account that if I'm working with somebody and it's just not working out, I will give you your money back in a heartbeat for peace of mind and to keep moving. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you can make history with your company. Also, we're going to talk about the upcoming First Friday event where some history is going to be made today in Largo, Maryland at the BLE First Friday event taking place at 11:30 today. Hang on for a second. We'll be right back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we will see you in a moment. All right, we're back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're celebrating Black History Month, but we're adding context to it so that we're not just sitting here reading about Black history, that we actually indeed making Black history and joining the ranks of some of the many that have gone before who made their mark. And you can do it too, because if you're a business owner, you have a tool that many don't have. to help yourself make Black history. Let's talk about the upcoming BLE Executive Suites. They're having their first Friday event. Miss Bernadette Clay and company. Man, let me tell you, it's the one last month in January. You have another opportunity this week. Today we're going to be talking about making Black history, not just reading about it. Miss Bernadette Clay is going to talk about the law of attraction. And she is a dynamic speaker, and her company, BLE Executive Suites, has these 3 locations in the Washington, D.C. area: Largo, Maryland, National Harbor, College Park, which is a hub zone. And this young lady, she is making history. And the good news is that she's willing to share this information with others. She's throwing this first Friday networking event, not charging you one penny. And this is her way of giving back, to be honest with you. She is going to feed you. I'll be there. I'll be emceeing the event and kind of welcoming you. And we're also glad to announce that and repeat that BLE is actually a sponsor of this program, and they have been for the past 13 years. So thank you again, BLE Executive Suites. You can find out more about BLE by going to blesuites.com or calling them at 301-322-1700. You can register for the event today by going to themarketingpulpit.com. There's a banner on the right side. Just click on that banner and click that button and come on out today and hear Ms. Bernadette Clay. I'll be there doing the opening remarks and introducing the speaker and kind of keeping things moving. But it's a great event. Don't you miss it. Go to blesuites.com. You can check on events, or you can go to marketingpulpit.com and come on out for the first Friday networking event sponsored by BLE Suites and Ms. Bernadette Clay. And thank you again, Ms. Clay, for sponsoring the Marketing Pulpit radio show. Let's talk about a couple of quick items in the news, and then we're going to close out by giving you some tips on how you can help make business, make history instead of just reading about it. Here's a quick story. Tyree Nichols has been laid to rest. Benjamin Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton were at the funeral. That was the young man that was beat to death by 5 Black police officers. And it really has the community in a quandary on, wow, how can we do that to ourselves? Well, when you're in a system that pushes, sometimes the leaders push a white nationalist agenda, like the people down in Florida and other places, that has an impact on anybody under their charge, including Black police officers. And just when they were trying to lay Mr. Nichols to rest, there was a shooting in a library in the same city, and at least one person was killed. So the orgy of violence, gun violence, has not abated in this country. Even Black History Month, even as we bury one of our own members of our community. So folks, we have to do better. Let's do better. Let's build these businesses and put these young people to work, get them off the street, give them something meaningful to do. So we have an impact. We don't have to just be a passive observer and sit around and wonder what happened and scratch our head after somebody's gotten shot. Let us build these businesses. That's the theme of this show. Build strong businesses in our community and put our people to work so we don't have to keep going out to other communities trying to find work for our young people and our adults. This next story is so bizarre. You think it was a satire. These police shoot this double amputee who was trying to escape. They say he assaulted somebody with a knife, and as he was trying to escape, he hopped out of his wheelchair and hobbled down the sidewalk, and one of the officers pulls up with his gun and shoots him 8 times. You just have to keep asking yourself. People want to say that we call the race card too often, but you don't hear these kind of stories happening to other people in other communities. I mean, how much damage can an amputee who cannot really run in a traditional sense, even if he has he's not Jim Bowie, he's not going to Jim Bowie, that TV show we used to watch, where the guy can throw a knife and kill a bear. You can duck. You got to put a shield up. Back it with your arm. But to shoot somebody 8 times? Oh, Lord. Help us. These are the kind of stories that we don't like to read on Black History Month, but we read them because we want to let the world know that we're not some communities that's out here looking for things to blame on other people, but at the same time, it's a clarion call for us as a community to come together and push an agenda of economic viability, independence, looking out for each other, supporting each other, loving each other. And what better time to do that than on this Black History Month? I'm one of those folks also that say we shouldn't just have to wait until February to note our accomplishments and to come together. But it's good to have a reminder in February. So I'm going to go with that. Let's talk about, instead of reading about history, we're going to talk about making history. If you're a business owner, whether you're Black or white, but particularly we're focusing today on Black businesses, I'm going to give you some tips on things that you can do if you have a business or a business idea. This is some code. We call this business success code that every business owner should have as part of their business strategy. Number one, commit to a reputation that aligns with your purpose. The most successful businesses that I know and the business owners, they had a purpose. They didn't just go out here to make money. Like Miss Bernadette Clay from BLE Suites, like Robert Gatewood from the Marketing Pulpit, like Miss Kathy Hughes, and the list goes on and on and on. There's a purpose. They came out for purpose. They saw a need, a societal problem, and they sought to set out to solve it. Okay? That is the beginning of making history, not just reading it. Have a purpose, attach it to some type of need or fixing some problem in the community and beyond. Look at the audience that has this problem and have laser focus on that audience. You're not going to solve everybody's problem, okay? But if you focus on that certain problem with that certain audience, you're going to start to see critical mass. Create an exceptional service that addresses the need of that audience. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the code today on how to become one of these successful businesses that we keep reading about. Stop reading about it and start being about it, okay? Now, we have to look at, once we've created this problem, we have to look at how we can distribute this product that we create to solve that problem. How are you going to distribute it? Look at the technology. Look at the different ways of distributing. Don't just rely on the old trite ways. You have to be a groundbreaker, a visionary on how to get this service into the hands of those that need it. That's part of your target audience. Also, you have to be creative and come up with a message that demonstrates your ability to solve this problem and deliver that service. We are in a communication age. We have social media. We have traditional media. We have digital media. We have blogs. We have all types of ways to create that message and get it out there. Okay? But don't just grab means with it. Get on the means of delivery of that message that's aligned with the audience you're trying to reach. If you're trying to reach young people, you need to try to be on TikTok and Instagram. If you're trying to reach older people, you need print and traditional media. Folks in the middle, some of the more traditional and a little bit of the new ways of technology. You have to follow this code. This has been proven. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. And I have a long list of success stories to back it up. Okay, I'm not just sitting there making stuff up, not giving you the latest shiny objects. Okay. Now you have to reinforce the benefits of your service. Okay. Let people know how that service is going to help them, and reinforce that in everything you do, in your ads, in your sales pitch, in your elevator pitch, whatever you're doing. Keep reinforcing those benefits on how the service that you created is going to help that audience you're going after. Because I'm telling you how to make history today as a business owner instead of continuing to read about it and celebrating other people. You can do this too. I'm just giving you the blueprint on how to do it. Okay. Let me give you a few more before we wrap up here. Now, this, we talked about this last week. I spent an entire show on it because it's a fundamental foundational aspect of business success. Develop relationships and partnerships and collaborations with organizations and individuals who have a stake in your success. We're talking about how to make history instead of always reading about it. I'm giving you the blueprint today. Partnerships, just like I partner with BLE, I partner with Radio One, okay? I partner with Prince George's Community College. I partner with the Women's Business Center over in Bowie, Maryland. These are partners, and we're about to start a partnership with Employ Prince George's County through the Prince George's Community College program. So these are partnerships that we form to help us get to that upper echelon. If you think you can get there by yourself, you set your bar too low. I'm telling you how to make history. You're not always reading about it. Last but not least, before I wrap this up today, I want you to exceed expectations. Stop being that average company. Exceed expectations at all times. Don't just meet expectations, exceed expectations. All right, folks, like that, there's a tribe in Kenya called the Maasai tribe, and their mantra is, what about the children? Keep that in mind as you move forward in Black History Month. Don't forget to go to the marketing pulpit and sign up for the first Friday networking event. I'll be there about half hour. See you next week. If you want to be successful, do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and do it right. Let's get to work. All that glitters is not gold. And it simply means that just because something is shiny and pretty doesn't mean that it has value. But there's another side of this coin also that says that all this gold does not necessarily glitter. That means we have people out here right now among us who are doing some phenomenal things, but they don't get the glitter because to them it's more about the purpose. It's more about the results. It's more about helping people. It's more about uplifting, and it's less about shining in the spotlight. So yes, there is some truth to the saying that all that glitters is not gold. But let's not forget also that there's some gold out here that's not glittering. And there are people, they're doing their thing. So don't be so quick to pull the plug on us. We make one little small mistake. Now I don't expect or ask anybody to lower their expectations just because they're dealing with a Black business. No. What I'm doing is asking you Black businesses to step it up. Exceed expectations. Don't just do enough to get by. Our community demands it and deserves it. And they will reward you. I know I will. Every chance I get. All right, folks, I'm over here working on my faith muscle. I'm trying to think. Do I do push-ups to get that muscle? Do I?
No,
it's not a physical muscle.
It's not a physical muscle.
Right.
You take baby steps.
Baby
It's like if you wanted to build real muscle, you go to the gym and you don't just do it one time and say, well, look, I'm good. But if you go to the gym one time expecting to have muscle and you don't go back again, then you'll think it's not working. Okay. So it's the same with faith. It's testing it one step at a time, taking little baby steps at first. If you find that you're developing the faith, the beliefs, and basically it's changing your negative beliefs. So we work on techniques on how to change your negative thinking, your negative beliefs that's blocking you or stopping you from accomplishing your goals. Whatever your goals may be, whether it's to build a big business or to have a great relationship or whatever it is, you need that faith.
Your first introduction to your network is actually your family and friends. Mom, dad, stepmom, grandpa, grandma, they are actually your first network. Now let's take this a little deeper here. So if our network determines our net worth, what if we're born into a network that's not really working in our favor? I think Maya Angelou said it better. When you know better, you do better. We can't determine who we're going to be born with. We don't choose our family. And in some cases, we're not even choosing our friends because we're cast into these organizations like schools and churches, sometimes before we even have a say in the matter. But as we get older and wiser, sometimes, I think Malcolm said it, sometimes you have to separate. You may have to go find yourself another network to hang with.